What's up, guys? It's Mrjamvad, and today we are back on the competitive server of Pokemon Showdown. And so you may sense a bit more energy in me, and because, guys, I'm in a place of peace. Nah, but I took some time off so I can really restructure and determine where I'm headed with all things, not just with Mons. How I'm gonna fit all this. With the birth of the website, my business is outside this. And recently, I no longer have a job, and so I'm doing all my businesses full time. And so I needed a week. I needed a week because your boy never, ever having any time to himself. And so I did that. And it feels amazing. You're gonna notice a lot more coming from the channel. I've refined. It's been almost a year since the Mrjamvad Academy was born. The Academy. If you don't know, you're a new subscriber. I had a channel previous to this that was bigger, but it got hacked around November 28th. It was, I think, on Thanksgiving. I remember making a video. If you go back to Mrjamvad University, you'll see the video me thanking everybody because the channel was experiencing growth like no other. Like ever in its lifetime, and it was for the first time I was taking YouTube even quasi seriously, and boom, the next day lost everything. And so I say to many people, I view things, there's no dwelling on the past. Well, you can, but it's not helpful. And so I started this channel maybe 3 days later because I was having such a blast creating content. It was such a wonderful time. Sword and Shield was just released. Guerrilla Tactics Dharm was still unexplored, and we're like, wait, what? And so everybody, the community was on fire. Pokemon was the shit again, and I didn't want to miss out on that. I was enjoying myself, and so I started this channel, and that's what really helped me refocus. When I ask questions like, okay, well, what's the difference between 10 views and 10,000 views, right? Other than the number. And so it helped me stay focused, regain, and we rebuilt, and we're better than ever. And I'm grateful for it. And so in this game, we're going to be using Hazard Stack Mew. Very cool stuff. I'm not Sash red card. I'm not sure what the red card, I'm sure there's a reason, but I'm not sure what the red card is for. I'm Zacian. I'm Agility. I don't like that. I do not like that. I'm already dumb fast. I can think of some situations where agility is helpful, but I don't think I'll enjoy that because I'm looking at my opponent's game. So let's break this down and you'll see what I mean. So first and foremost, Mew. Mew's core purpose in this game is to hazard stack. It beats nothing on his team, right? And so his form of hazard removal is Corviknight. Dragapult's core purpose in this team, seeing as I am Dragon Dance, Fire Blast, and Dynamax is a thing. He has no Ditto. Upon Dragon Dance, that KO 1, 2, 3. Lapras doesn't die, but with the hazards up, I'll get a sizable chunk, assuming it's not heavy duty boost. 4 and 5 with Corviknight and the fire move. Zacian, upon attacking, he cannot guard well against the Behemoth Blade. And so it destroys everything on his team, and Corviknight obviously comes in on rocks and gets wild charge away. Eternatus is agility, beats his entire team as well. Marshadow, Focus Sash, lead, beats his entire team as well. He doesn't have stealth rocks and Ditto. And so let's start this fairly straightforwardly. I know because of Mew's natural bulk, I'll eat the unfortunately, fortunately, I get Corviknight. And so remember, I made a flaw in because I have so many win cons. I'm gonna lean towards Dragapult being the win con in this one. And so he has Iron Defense, which implies that he likely does not have Defog. He roots Iron Defense, obviously Body Press, and so he's allowing me to get up all my hazards, which is phenomenal. I'm actually gonna get up one more layer, taunt him, and then switch as he opts for Darmanitan, which is not a problem to me. As I said before, we're gonna position ourselves to where that Corviknight, even though I don't think it has, in fact, actually, I might be able to sweep him just like right now. Let me see if I have anything else that can taunt. Because what I'm gonna do is, I want to set up a situation where the Corviknight, like agility. If I agility, I win. Because Lapras can't Dynamax without taking like the half a health thing, and I have all the conditions met that I need. And so all I would need is for him to not go for Icicle Crash. And so what I'm thinking here is, what can I position that will prevent that Corviknight from coming in and defogging. And so right now it's looking like Zacian. He might Icicle Crash too, but again, I wanted to have Zacian in versus Corviknight. As he goes to Corviknight, allows me to wild charge it. I still have my I didn't think that would one shot. That means he's max per def. That means this game is over. Because he'd have to go to Darm and probably Blitz, which gives me the opportunity agility. If he goes to Icicle Crash, I mean, an Earthquake or whatever, he so chooses. So at this point, I'm actually not going to allow my Zacian to go down. I'm going to allow Mew to go down because, remember, at this point, he no longer has... well, you could Dynamax here. That's the only... like, but... could Dynamax and knock me out. It doesn't have anything. Yeah, if he Dynamaxes this, then Lapras can't Dynamax, which means the game's over. I think he's gonna Blitz. Yeah. The reason I think that's because, again, he needs the Lapras to Dynamax. And it likely will come in and Dynamax here. But with the spikes, Zacian will go down to Life Orb Max Special Attack. And so things were set up like perfectly, in all honesty. And so, since this isn't, what's it called, it's not heavy duty boots, Dynamax Cannon cannot miss, so it's just a clean sweep at this point. I think Marshadow dies from there. Yeah, Life Orb, Dynamax. He Tornadoes is no joke, baby. But yeah, I had a couple of different options there. I could have opted for a situation where, I think because of that, Zacian was adamant the wild charge KO'd as well. That Corviknight likely didn't have defense investment. And in Ubers, I'm trying to think what special attackers may have come about to where you could justify special defensive Corviknight in Ubers. But for the most part, physically defensive Corviknight is going to be your best friend. And because of that, Dragapult opting for the Max Flare, Life Orb Max Flare would have probably rocked that. And so it was a question of, okay, is he going to... Well, I guess technically I could have sacked the Mew. And then... I could have sacked the Mew. Let him U-turn. And, likely I'd be staring down Zacian, which I didn't want to do, but... I guess I could have just gone to Marshadow Spectral Thief. It would have let him defog, but he would have lost half his team. But I figured I could just win the game outright from there. But yeah, guys, just the quality of the vids, man. Sure, the narrations are fine, but due to just obligations, but other obligations prior to me, again, I'm not a full-time content creator per se. Because this isn't my only revenue stream, or this was never actually a revenue stream. Like I make literally. That's why I was laughing with Cybertron on the podcast. I was like, if the people knew how little like a video makes me here. Now it could be because of my inconsistency. And so I don't know if that has anything to do with the algorithm, but it's nothing to where I devote any substantial amount of time as far as AdSense is concerned. Now there are other avenues you can make money with, but I never really went that route before because, again, I thought I would have quit YouTube by now, just because, you know. But I enjoy Mons, and so I'm going to continue to play as long as that's the case. I'm going to continue to deliver a ton of value. Very similar situation, this one. Unfortunately, he has a Quagsire and a Chansey, and the reason that matters is Chansey shuts down Eternatus, Quagsire shuts down my other physical attackers, and so I'm going to really have to double down on the hazards here. And so because of that, I think Dragapult can hammer with hazards. Dragapult and Marshadow can go a long way. If he gives me Chansey early, I sweep him with Eternatus. Chansey doesn't have leftovers, cannot have heavy duty boots, and so that's a major upside. Didn't structure out probably the best game plan, to be honest. I wonder if I die. If I do, that's actually quite bad. Like I may just lose the game off of like a bandit crunch or something. Like I mean a +1 crunch. I probably don't go down to anything else. It's actually a tough turn. What I don't want him to do is Behemoth Blade as I go to Ditto. Let's think this through, because I actually want to win the game. If he Behemoth Blades, I look like a fool. I'm gonna gamble. Yes, I tank that. Okay, and red card him out. Excellent. And so Chansey's in. Not my ideal mon to have in, but because I don't know how I'm gonna stop the Corviknight from defogging. You get what I'm saying? And so like I don't know if these run attacking moves. It's just Thunder Wave. So let's taunt here and hopefully I can get my Mew out. Okay, so Thunder Wave goes out. Still uncertain of whether they run attacking moves or not. And so if that's not the case, then he'd struggle here. If he has to struggle, then he'll switch this out. If he doesn't, then he'll go to something that can Seismic Toss. So I'm like, well, what would my options be? So I'm gonna Marshadow here. I was afraid Corviknight would be his mon, but I didn't think he'd go to Corviknight because fuck, I should have expected Corviknight. I should have went Dragapult instead. That's actually a misplay. The reason I'm like, well, you know, Corviknight wouldn't really make sense is because I can just taunt the Corviknight. So now this puts me in a really bad spot. Fuck, I just wasted my whole time. Fuck, I should have went Dragapult there. That was a huge misplay. I did not think he'd go to Corviknight, but even then, I should always. But I'll have to work my way back into it, so it's all good. I won't dwell too much on it, but that was just silly. I did not expect Corviknight to be the one that he goes to. Damn. So we'll go Eternatus here, and the point of Eternatus is to try to bait this Chansey back in. So if he gets to defog, I want to at least get rocks back up as he gets to defog. And so now he's going to try to, yeah. And so we'll get rocks back up at the very least. Those spikes probably go a little further. Do I need the Corviknight's health? No. Spikes, Corviknight, I mean, Zacian and Quag. Quag's a big one. Corviknight's not so much. I'll actually Spike first. Man, I had him right there. But you know, it's been a while since I played, so that was sloppy right there. I had to keep the gas on the point. So basically in a situation like that, if I know, like for example versus Quagsire Chansey combination, I don't have the best matchup, then I have to understand that at all costs I have to keep my hazards up. And so if that's my primary concern moving into this, then I should have never given. Amon that can allow Corviknight to defog freely should have never been on the field. So Mew should have always been on the field. Dragapult should have always been on the field. Like basically Corviknight, Ditto and Marshadow should have never hit the field while the hazards were up, until I either got the Corviknight super low to where Marshadow could kill it, or I got like that didn't make any sense looking back. I think I was fearing, him doubling to Zacian, because Zacian made sense too. But that's what as I'm saying, like, if anything, I should have gone to my own Zacian. If he does go to the Corviknight, at the very least, I punish that Corviknight. Or I could have went to Eternatus, absorbed a Seismic Toss. It would have covered Zacian coming in, because then I'd be at full. I can knock out the Zacian. It covers Corviknight coming in. But if he stayed into Seismic Toss, the next turn I could just pivot, go to Dragapult, go for Dragon Dance, and just murk the Chansey. Or I could pivot and go to Marshadow on the Chansey. Or I could pivot and go to Zacian on the Chansey. But at that point, the Corviknight can't come in for free. And he would have still been taunted at that point. So, I always focus, again, particularly if you're a newer player, always focus on, okay, what did I do well? What did I do well? I led well in the sense of, I understood what I needed to do. I understood the matchup dynamic of, okay, the combination of Chansey plus Quagsire could potentially wall the entirety of my team. And so I understood, okay, well, I need to get these hazards up well. Also made a very good double switch, doubling back Mew to Chansey. What did I learn? I learned that Mew can take a +1 Behemoth Blade. Corviknights are super common, and they're running Iron Defense again. Chanseys seem to not have attacking moves, and they're running Thunder Wave now. And so that's how you want to go through each game. The biggest flaw I see, and again, that's what I meant when I'm saying, like, I'm really going to be doubling down as far as, like, focusing on the vision of what I want to bring to this space. People beat themselves, literally. They think they lose the game, but they beat themselves. And I don't mean in skill. And so, well, skill is a part. I don't even need my joint. But I'll explain what I mean in a little bit as after we figure this game plan out. So, Mew, no hazard control as far as I can tell. Could be defog restaurant. That's something I learned is a thing. Dragapult upon Dragon Dancing, it can Dragon Dance versus really just one mon, but which is this. And upon doing so, it KOs every last member on my opponent's team, and so that's a potential win condition. Zacian upon Swords Dancing also KOs every member on the opposing team. Eternatus upon Agility also KOs. Wow, with the hazards, I really messed this guy up. So I'm going to aim to remove his Toxapex early with the pressure of my Zacian, wild charge that, get rid of that, and then either just Marshadow wreck his team or Dragapult wreck his team. As far as something that could stop that early, I'd assume his Marshadow. So if you're assuming that I'm going to lead Mew and shut you down in that way, I'd assume you'd try to stop me with, say, a Zacian slash a Marshadow. And if he leads with Zacian, Marshadow beats it. If he leads with Toxapex, and I can just pivot to Mew and get those hazards up. So he actually started with Mewtwo, which implies to me that he has a taunt. So he side strikes. So Mewtwo's out of the way. Spectral Thief easy gonna knock that out. Interesting. That's not how I expected him to start. And so, as I said, with the Pex, allows for Mew to come in. Spikes are a lot more valuable than rocks in this situation. I don't need the health for oh fuck. That's whack. That's pretty whack. Because I believe it's right outside the roll. I don't know, man. I like Focus Sash a lot. I don't like the idea of having to like hope. Like I hope that things work out, you know. Marshadow's core purpose in this one, I can't get rid of the T-Spike. Actually, I can. I have an Eternatus, so I'm tripping. So Marshadow isn't gone. Let's say, so after this Dacian attacks, I'm thinking about what comes after that, you know. And which one I value more, Mew or Marshadow. I'm gonna try to get the rocks off. So he has Play Rough, and it does knock me out, which is a big deal. Okay, so Mew can go now. Since, as far as I can tell, he has no hazard control. And so Ditto transforms. Obviously, I'm poisoned, but I think I'm gonna Play Rough here. Should 2 a KO Toxapex easily. I'm fucking like, oh my god, that did no damage. That did no damage. But Toxapex being gone, you know, opens up. Well, it was supposed to open up Marshadow, but I used Marshadow differently than I intended to in this game. And so obviously his Marshadow could die here. Since his Zacian is what, Play Rough. Play Rough. See, you can't even beat my Zacian. My Zacian wins the game now. So even if he goes to Spectral Thief, I mean Shadow Sneak here, which he didn't. That's why you don't SD. Like, he could literally get swept by if I hit my Play Roughs, because I have 2 more, and there's no 1 Mon he can have left. But that's the importance of foresight. And let's say if my opponent, alright, let's say for example that opponent that just lost, you notice he just X'd out the battle. That is the worst thing you can do if you're trying to learn. Why? Because he just viewed his loss as a negative. This is how it probably went in his head. Now I can't prove this, but you can be the judge of whether this sounds relatable. So he just made a big mistake in Swords Dancing. Maybe he's never realized that before, and so now, because of that loss, negative feelings are starting to run through his body. He's like, oh god, I lost, and I lost embarrassingly, or I fucked up. And so now, because of the event, a loss is just an event. You can choose how to interpret that loss. Rather than saying, oh, that's amazing, now I know not to do that again. Awesome, I just learned. Okay, what did I learn? Okay, I know I'm not supposed to SD versus Dittos. What did I do well? You know, and focus. You can always find at least one thing you did well. Okay, I led Mewtwo expecting Mew to taunt it, but I didn't, you know, Like, you can always find something. That was my game plan sound? You know, what did you do well? And then, you know, what did you learn, obviously. Now, how it likely went is, oh shit, I lost, therefore it creates a story. This means that, you know, I'm not good. This means that, shit, what the fuck? You know, why would I make such a stupid play? And so you impress repeated negative ideas in your mind after every loss. So then it is literally impossible to build a positive relationship with your losses. You can talk all day about what did I learn, but if your body, which is a reflection of, let's just put it like this, your body is telling you what your true beliefs are. So you can say, oh, I love losing, but your emotions are screaming, quit, quit, quit. That means you've impressed ideas that losing is bad, either your whole life or at least throughout your time of playing Pokemon. And so when you do that, you create the story. This means this about me because I've lost. This means I'm not good. This means I'll never do it. This means... And so when you move into the next game, you try to move past the emotion. And then in moving past the emotion, you lose the next game because you're still emotional. You try to fool yourself, but you really don't believe that losing is bad. I mean, losing is good. And so you go into the next game. Really what you're trying to do is win to make yourself feel better about the last one. You're trying to reinstate your self-image of whatever level of player you are. You lose that game, and so now your self-image is all out of whack, which means your emotions have to be out of whack. You hearing me? And so then you try one more time, maybe, if you haven't quit yet, and then you lose that one because you're still trying to reinstate your self-image. Boom, you quit, and you feel bad, you quit the game, you blah blah blah, when really it's just improper ideas. If you just knew that losing was good, you'd be like, nothing could stop you from that, just that one idea change. And so I'm gonna write again. I'm writing a lot on these things and making videos on them to really expound on this, because that's something that needs to be discussed. And so, okay, in this one, the hazard controller could potentially be Lunala, could potentially be Rotom, but is hazards that important in this one? Kind of. But Dragapult just inherently is just a monster. The only thing that can really stop it, even without a Dragon Dance, is the T-Tar. Zacian, upon Swords Dancing, just wrecks my opponent. I like spikes in this one. I like spikes for, that. Marshadow 6-0s. And so I'm going to double down heavily on those. I could also murk him with Eternatus, but I'll need the T-Tar withered down a lot. And so because I feel like that's what the route he's going to have to go with this, I'm going to attempt to hammer that Tyranitar early in the game. Rotom makes very little sense to me. I'm upset that the Rotom is in versus me, because Mew would have literally just gotten free setup on this. So that lets me know the fact that he just led Rotom means that he probably always leads Rotom, or he doesn't know what Mew does, because that just wouldn't be the course of action you'd take. And so T-Tars in Uber generally don't have crunch or anything of that nature. So I'm actually going to go hard Mew on this, because I don't want him to Thunder Wave. And yep, so I synchronize that back to him. This allows for me to fire off a spike, because Rotom's pretty much the only one that doesn't get affected, and Necrozma and Ferrothorn are things I want to weaken far more than I want to weaken Rotom, because Dragapult already is going to destroy Rotom. It destroys the other two too. But he Rock Blasts, probably expecting me to stop him from getting up rocks, which I could do now, but I don't care that much. So I'm gonna taunt here, probably defog, right? And so I'll set the spike back up. Unfortunately, again, I didn't know which one is it. Like, I knew Rotom obviously learns defog, but I didn't know which one it was. And that's like a really big power hacks right there. That's like game changing power hacks right there. Lunala could be the defogger. That's like a game changing power hacks right there. Because if this is Scarf, I have to give up on mine here, and I needed spikes. If I could have gotten, like, I'm like, okay, well, if this is Specs, I lose a Mon. I'm gonna have to really fuck him up early. I'm not gonna play a hazard game in this. I'm not gonna double down on Eternatus either. So let's see what kind of, if he Specs, crits me, of course. So it's gonna be one of them games where it's a little harder than it needs to be. And so if my opponent was to, like, you can't guard against Spectral Thief. I really want to CC here, but let me Spectral Thief. He can't guard against it. I'd want to just kill the T-Tar on off jump, so that my Dragapult doesn't have to deal with it. But if he's for some reason is scarfed and stays in, I don't want to lose. He was probably Specs, which means my Eternatus would have been able to come in. You know, I obviously have Recover. Depending on how much he did, I would have just gone front for either Recover or Dynamax Cannon. If I could Dynamax Cannon, then T-Tar comes in, which allows for my Mew to get up the hazard I need, you know, all these things. So he does stay in, doesn't die, and so it would be smart of him to attempt to go to Tyranitar here, or Ferrothorn, but he stays in. I'm glad I didn't see it. Like, I'm glad I'm not predicting anything, because Marshadow is a menace to him. Like, what is he gonna go to? Outspeed his entire team. I'm getting this CC off, and he's gonna enjoy it. If he goes to Tyranitar, I'll kill it. As much as I'd like to just get the hazards up, I think, as I said, I'm not even gonna play the hazard game. I'm just gonna, because I have the force to mess his team up, but he's fucking scarfed. Oh my god, where the fuck did they get these guys from, man? He scarfed Defog when he had a loot out. Okay, I wish I went for Shadow Sneak there, but yeah, him being scarf is annoying, because now he outspeeds my Zacian and my Dragapult, because my Zacian could have SD'd in one. But the game is far from over. I just need something to find something to be able to Dragon Dance on. I think Dynamax Dragapult just wrecks him just by itself. Wow. It's so funny, because if I had just started the game with Mew, like, this would have been a super different game. And so he goes to Necrozma, which is good and not good at the same time. Primarily because I'm thinking just going straight Dragapult, Dynamaxing, attacking into this. But because his Rotom is Scarf, if it has Scarf Will-O-Wisp, he has Scarf Default Voltage. He probably doesn't have Will-O-Wisp. I mean, he could. Because what I could do is Dynamax. I have to go Dragapult. I didn't want to potentially waste too many Dynamax turns, but the way he plays, I don't think he'd go to T-Tar. Yeah. He won't die from this. Yeah. But it takes a ton of damage, which is going to open up my Zacian, which is why I was like, you know, I don't know if. And so, Max Rimwin here to knock that out. Now I'm going to get another big hit off. If he goes to T-Tar, then I'll switch to Mew. It'd be a waste of my Dragapult to give it, to allow it to be Thunder Wave. And so now I actually can get Rocks up, because I want that Rotom getting punished. Dracovish could rear its ugly head, but with Rocks, I go to please don't get any good hits. Nice. Okay. And so we can miss the explosion here. No, I'll spike. Nice. Nice. Okay. And so I'll CC hard on the off chance he goes to because what I'm thinking is, if I CC and the Rotom comes in and knocks me out, nah, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. There's no reason for me to take an extra Iron Barb range. Yeah, so the Rotom comes in. Because it's one more turn of Sandstorm, I just Dragon Dance and win if he doesn't play his cards right. I don't want him defogging, so just Volt switches it out. And so Ferrothorn's gonna go down there, and so yeah, Dragapult just wins here. I just switched the if he goes for defog, he hasn't Dynamax yet though, so he does have a Dynamax in hand. So I do want to be mindful of that, but I don't think it'll be enough. Oh, so that's his set. I mean, I guess I'll just trick, because I don't want yeah, I'll just trick. Oh, he Dynamaxes the Dracovish Max Win. Which means he's gonna go for the Max Water here. Let's get a little bit of damage. I don't want him to keep the choice. I'm trying to think here. Because I don't. Well, actually, since I know the Rotom set, would Hydro Pump kill me? I don't think it matters though. Yeah, I don't think it matters anymore. I'll just go for Hydro Pump for some damage, 6%. Max Geyser made sense. Because what I don't want is, like, since the Rotom has the water up now, you know, and so Scarf Hydro Pump might kill me, which is what I was trying to avoid. I don't know if he thought about it. I'm pretty sure he just expected my Zacian to switch out. That's why Max, you went for the Max Dragon first. Otherwise, he would have Max Rain right off jump. You expected Max Dragon to kill me. Man, this is tough. This is tough because I really wish I had. I don't want to take a Life Orb round on my Dragapult because that probably puts me in Rotom range. Yeah, so he's gonna Max Geyser here. So hopefully it doesn't do 43%. Hopefully it doesn't do 44. Dragapult's pretty bulky, so I want to say it won't. But, you know, Terrain boosted, max special attack, Hydro Pump. Wow, I didn't think this Scarf Rotom would. I didn't factor in the rain, but that's something that I should have factored in. I learned from. I completely was so myopic on the Rotom. Well, actually, I'm minus Spadef. I probably lose now. Yeah, I'm minus Spadef. I think minus Spadef be better. What are the mons in this tier? I think it doesn't even, like, you get whacked either way. Yeah, I lost. But that was a very well played end game. I was so focused on the Rotom Dynamax, so I'm like, okay, I can just CC that, then Dragon Darts, and I win. But I completely blanked on the Dracovish Dynamax. What did he Dynamax versus anyway? No, he Volt switched, and then if I had Volt switched the Dracovish out into, I was trying to think if I had sacked Zacian and then just last mind. I don't know if that would work for me to copy the Dracovish and try to Fishious Rend. That might have worked actually. Yeah. So like even right now, this is because I'm like thinking, okay, what did I learn here? Because where was it? Now, obviously the love, but it doesn't matter if you could have won. You know, you still focus on what you could have done to win. Because in the grand scheme of things, the loss was good, but the right here, if I had, because I was like, well, I need these two to win. But if I volt switched here, went to Zacian to sack it, I think I won, honestly. If I went volt switch here, went to Zacian to sack it, and then went to Dragapult. Dragapult would have at least did, like, if it didn't straight up kill it, it would have at least did a ton to it. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, it's Dynamax, it's probably not going to do that much, but that's probably not true. And so I just go for and he maxed Rimruin anyway, so it would have worked out for us. But we could have volt switched out, sacked Zacian, went to this, done a ton of damage, and then had Ditto, because remember Ditto would have been at full pretty much, copy the Dracovish, and then Fishious Rend his Dynamax Dracovish, because I'll be scarfed. And then it'd be Rotom versus Dracovish. Obviously, Volt Switch isn't going to do any damage. And it's going to be a rain boosted Fishious Rend. Oh my, there are levels to this. Because he would have set up the rain for me. So I really should have copied. I was thinking Ditto was the most expendable. But I could have copied the damn Dracovish. Now I thought I would die this turn, which is why I figured I played it out that way, because I'm like, I'll die here, all I need to do faint here, then go to Zacian. But even that had a little bit of risk to it, because I didn't know how much Hydro Pump would have done, but I figured I wouldn't die to Hydro Pump outside of the rain. And so, you know, but yeah, learned a ton. So there was a completely different win con. This is how I'm like, you know, like when I process it like that, I'm like, oh damn, I learned that I could have boo. When I go into the next game, I have enthusiasm, right? If I'm like, man, what the fuck, man, this is why I'll never be good. How could I fuck that up? So I'm like, what did I do well? Okay, and then, you know, there are other things to do that I detail in the book and all that. Like, so still go through that process of reviewing the replays. That's still necessary. But the mindset component is not to, fuck, I'm a piece of garbage. That's the part that causes you to quit. You feel me? Does that make sense? It doesn't need to now. I'll have videos dedicated strictly on that and just incorporating that more into the lives as we go. But guys, I had a blast in this one. Thank you so much for watching, and you know, hit the like button down below. The Academy is about to hit a next level of growth. Next level, we going 100k, baby, 100k. This knowledge needs to be shared, so hit the like button if you're still here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.